Hey guys, thanks for joining us today on Unfathered Fathers. Today we got my friend Miss Jody Harris. Jody, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So I actually met Jody through her husband. LD is a good friend of mine, and we were kind of workout buddies. And him and Jody met kind of in that time, and long story, ended up getting married. And now Jody is on this wonderful path to knowing the Lord, and all kinds of. She's a busy lady, got all kinds of things going on. But Jody, where did you grow up at?
So I grew up in Central Arkansas, in Cabot, Arkansas area. Yep.
Yeah, know where that's at.
So that's where I'm from. I was born in Fort Smith, raised in Cabot pretty much from like the age of probably 8 or 9. Graduated there and moved up here to Northwest Arkansas with LD.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys met in Cabot then, or down in Fort Smith area or what?
We met online.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Real romantic.
Yeah. Hey, that's a new thing now.
Yeah.
So kind of tell me just how your childhood growing up.
Definitely think I was just trying to escape from just, I say home life. I don't want to make my mom, sound like she was bad or anything. My mom has went through a lot herself throughout her childhood and did the best that she could, and she worked really hard, and I'm so incredibly proud of her, and we have such an amazing relationship today. But my mom did get married really young, had me I think at like 17. So her and my dad ended up, he's in the army or was in the army, ended up moving to Germany. So I was already born, here in Fort Smith, and then ended up going there with them. Don't really know all the details of what happened, but I know that my mom needed to get away. So she said she wanted to go see her mom for the weekend and took me and never went back. So we moved back to Fort Smith, ended up moving in with her. That's kind of where my memories start. I don't really remember anything prior to that. I'm sure I had some memory of some, chaos and stuff going on, because I knew at some point that my real dad was not in my life, and that every once in a while, like, I'll just kind of talk to him on the phone, but I just didn't have like a real strong connection there. I just knew there was something missing. So then later, my mom got remarried, and seemingly it was like great, nice, big house, like white picket fence, the whole thing. But it wasn't. It was very toxic, very chaotic, and my mom went through a lot of really scary times. And I can remember, like us literally being on the run from him, and just being on the road all the time and hiding at people's houses, and it was just like really chaotic and stressful and scary for my mom. So, but before all that happened, he actually ended up adopting me. So, he said he wanted to be my dad. That's all I really knew of as my dad. So I was like, great,
How old were you when he was wanting to adopt you, remember?
No, I really don't know, honestly, because, this part of my life I've learned to just block out. So there's like bits and pieces, and I feel like it happened really fast. So the timing is honestly awful, but I want to say we probably were with him from the time I was either like 3 to 4. And I probably saw him for the last time when I was around like 8 or 9,
okay,
somewhere around there. But in that time, we went to the courthouse. He adopted me. They told me, what to go say to the judge. Like, I want this person to be my dad, blah, blah, blah. So I did, and he ended up being my dad. And then things started kind of unfolding and chaos happening and whatnot. And so, we were on the run for quite some time. And I can just remember kind of being like torn in the middle and just knowing that there was something really bad going on. And that my mom, met the man that she's with today, who is my dad. And he's God sent, and I'm so grateful for him. And he has truly taken on the role of my dad. And I don't look at him any differently. If I talk about it too much, I'll get emotional, because I'm just so grateful for, what he filled in my life that I was missing for so long. But unfortunately, the damage was already done, when I met him. So,
do you remember how old you were when your mom met him, or when they got married?
No, not really. I mean, it was like probably, it wasn't too long after all of the other stuff was going on. Probably just like a couple of years, or But
So
I just
10 or 11, 12, something like that.
yeah, probably somewhere around there. But yeah, I can remember not liking him.
Yeah.
You know, like I was pretty angry at this point in time in my life. And when we finally moved to Cabot, I'm now with somebody else, and I'm with a new family and in a new school. I think I was in like at the end of second grade, going into third grade. So, I mean, I had a lot happen to me just in such a short time. It was just a really extreme, chaotic.
I'm sure, like, especially being a father figure, your dad, your first biological dad, you had to run away from. And then the second dad, you're still running away from. Mm-hmm. And then I'm sure as a young girl, when your mom got married to the guy that you call your dad now, mm-hmm. probably at first glance, you're probably like, this is just another guy that eventually we might have to run away from.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there wasn't just instant trust. Probably had to be built. And probably a tough road for him and you.
Oh, it was definitely tough on him. It was not easy to be around. But he was there anyways. Mm. He was kind of like a punching bag that I got to punch, and you know, he just kind of took it.
It well.
That's just how he is. Mm. Really tough, loving guy, and I'm just so grateful. Like him and my mom, they act like they're on their honeymoon to this day. So I'm really grateful that she found somebody.
She finally found her a good man.
Yes, I'm so grateful for that. But you know, in the beginning, I didn't care for this person. My life was just completely turned upside down again. I think I had moved like at least three or four different schools in this time period, like within a year and a half. I mean, I was just so messed up from just not understanding what was going on. And now I'm sitting in a living room, in the kitchen with my new dad and my mom telling me that my last dad is rejecting me. He doesn't want to be my dad anymore. He's giving his rights away. You will never see him again. He doesn't want to be your dad anymore.
Because you had his last name.
Yes. Going into school, I still had his last name for a while, and I got to a point where I was just like, I'm not going by this last name anymore. So I started going by my original, like my real dad's last name, because that was on my birth certificate prior. But yeah, I was just angry, and I can remember sitting in my bedroom, and I had this box of pictures, and you know, the guy that adopted me and wrote his rights away, he had a huge family, and I had so many pictures and stuff of everybody, and I was so angry, and I just remember ripping every single photo I ever had of anything and just trashing it because I was angry.
It's something that I never put too much weight to, but you know, not only had the separation from your stepdad who adopted you, but all the family that you're probably around, that you had relationship with. And yeah, that, you know, that's tough things that kids have to go through.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to process. You don't know how to process that.
Right.
You know, and so going through that anger, how did that affect you, like at school, with your social skills, with, you know, how did you do around, like moving school to school? Were you the type of kid that can make friends easy, or did that cause you to be isolated?
Yeah, no, I was a very angry kid, and I think I was pretty quiet for the most part, but I also was just angry. I can remember lashing out at people. I remember like stabbing some kid with a pencil one time because I was just so angry, and you know, like he was messing with me or picking on me, and I got so furious. This like anger came out that is not normal for a kid to have.
Yeah.
I remember whenever we moved to Cabot, I thought at the time I was like this special kid that got to go be a part of this like big sister, big brother thing at school. I got to go on field trips when other kids didn't. I got to go to the counselor's office like at least once a week all the time, and I just thought I was special. But I mean, like, people knew there was something going on, and they put me in a special program because they knew I was struggling socially. And so like it carried on all the way throughout school. And, you know, most kids, when they go to school, they find their friends at a really young age, and they kind of grow up together and, you know, have like their little groups and stuff. But I had just kind of been dabbled in so many different schools that I didn't have that. And I didn't even know how to create that or be a part of anything like that. I know now that I had so much anxiety as a kid and I just didn't realize it, and I didn't know what was happening with me. And so it just took a toll. And yeah, socially, I struggled big time, and just kind of stayed to myself for the most part.
Okay, so like at school, did you eventually make friends, or did you just kind of stay? Did you ever get into like a group of friends at school?
I was kind of one of those people that was like friends with everybody, meaning like I just kind of like passed everybody and would like be cordial, but I didn't really have like a place. Like I didn't have a group, or I didn't really have like a table. And if I did, it like didn't really last long. So yeah.
Did you ever have like a best friend or somebody really that you end up getting really close with?
Yeah, I feel like every 2 years or so I'd have like a best friend, and then they would move on to like a new best friend, and like they were my person. And I've had several of those throughout my lifetime. But
Yeah. And you had mentioned that you had got a job at a young age.
yes, so I started working at the local skating rink at like 14. I was so excited. I just wanted to stay like out of my house, because I mean, all I did was stay in my room, depressed, anxious all the time. And, you know, my mom was stressed out a lot, and for good reasons. So it was just easier for me to just kind of stay out of the way. So when I got my first job at 14, I started working there, and it was like an opportunity for me to be good at something. So I tried to be as best at it as I could. I worked every single weekend. Then that moved on to me getting promoted to the bowling alley. So I went there for a while. And, you know, in Cabot, that's probably like 25 minutes outside of North Little Rock. And by the time I got into high school, I got my first job at the Buckle. And I thought I like hit the gold mine, because I was making good money. I was selling clothes, and I was buying so many clothes. And it was like the time where I finally got to start wearing really nice stuff that I wanted to wear, because like I paid for it, bought it, went and like dyed my hair for the first time, and really started trying to like take control of my looks, you know, not really being noticed prior. I think I really dove into wanting to have like the best of everything. And I guess I just assumed that if I make myself look a certain way, people will value me, or think, you know, more of me, or will be accepting of me. So that's kind of where that started going from there.
As a young girl, like, do you feel like did you think a lot about your real dad not being in your life? Was that consume your mind very much, or did you just kind of move on?
It did consume me for a long time, just because I knew that like he wasn't there. His sister, who was my aunt that I was named after, actually was a part of my life for a while, up until I got into the drugs and stuff, and I haven't really talked to her since. But she was still part of my life, wanted to be, and I would go see her every Christmas back in Fort Smith, where my dad's family was also. And every once in a while he would come, and I'd see him for like a hot minute. So I knew of him. I knew he was like trying to have a relationship with me, but it was just very short-lived. So it was just constantly like kind of dabbling in my life, reminding me that there's something here that's not being nurtured. And then him just kind of like disappearing. I want to say my middle school, junior high year, my dad convinced my mom to let me go fly out to see him in Oregon for a couple summers. And I did. And the first time I went, I thought it was great, because I got to go travel and go somewhere else different. And my aunt went with me, but he was already remarried and had 2 other stepkids. But his life was pretty consumed with them, and I knew that it was pretty consumed with them. Like I can remember going to his office at work and seeing like pictures on his desk of his children and all of them, and like I was nowhere to be found. And it was just very obvious that like I wasn't really a priority. So I think he wanted to be a better dad. I just don't feel like he had the capability to do so in the place that he was in, and he's still not to this day. And it wasn't until a couple years ago where I finally just accepted things for what they are, and I just had to stop letting it be a part of my life. Like I can't just constantly be thinking like, oh yeah, I have a dad, but he doesn't really want to be in my life. And so I kind of just shut that down. But
So when you started working at the Buckle, I guess you pretty much worked through high school. You pretty much always have a job.
Yeah, I worked there from 17, and I worked there for probably 6 years. Yeah.
Okay. So once, and you had said pretty much before, because we're going to get into kind of the addiction that started to take over your life. But you said that you had told me that you're pretty much a good kid, even though you kind of had the trauma of, losing your dad, your dad not being around and the next guy and that stuff. But you didn't, as a teenager, resort to drugs and alcohol and stuff. You just kind of consumed into work and just try to keep yourself busy.
Yes, I was trying to please my mom. I knew that she was stressed and she had a lot going on and was very unhappy a lot of the times, and rightfully so. But I kind of took that on as a kid. So I always was like tiptoeing around my mom, making sure I didn't like upset her. I just wanted her to be happy. I wanted to make her proud. And so I got into like track and did really good. I did basketball, cheerleading. I took like all these medical classes in high school and graduated with medical honors. I was a certified nurse assistant before I even graduated high school. Like I really dove in, and there was a point where I was working like 2 jobs at one time, and I was just staying busy, trying to be the best at everything that I did. And I know now there was just a part of me that really wanted to be good at something. I wanted to be valuable. I wanted to make my mom proud. I wanted people to see me differently than how I felt like people saw me the majority of my life.
Yeah.
Because I always felt unwanted, obviously, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So that was something that I was just constantly striving for.
Did you, the man that you're most married to now that you proudly call Dad,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What that relationship, when did that start to change? How old were you when you started to value him as your dad?
It was probably, it definitely was after the second guy was out of the picture. He, signed his rights away. I had to go through a period of just, going through that and stuff. Like I said, some of this is like really hard for me to recall, because for the past few years, it wasn't too long ago that I really just shut everything off completely. But he was just always good to me, he was always there. I had a brother who was his son, so he was my stepbrother, but we were best friends. We had a great relationship, and, they just worked really hard and did everything they could to be the best that they could be. And I knew that he was a good dad.
Did he, cause I'm interested in, cause coming into, especially if you're a good guy, and, just thinking about his situation, coming in and having a young lady that has already started off the bat, not trusting guys and having kind of probably some guards up. Does anything really stand out that he did that, because he must have put in a lot of effort for it to how you value him now, and you call him Dad, you consider him your dad, and he's treated you like a father. What are some of the things that stood out to you that he did to make you to open up to him?
Well, he was just a good old country boy, really. I had a lot of family members within his family that weren't even blood, but I called uncles and whatnot, just because we were all so close. That like these were my uncles, and like this was my brother, and this is my dad, and it was just very normalized. But we've had plenty of conversations where we'll sit down and he almost have tears in his eyes and just I love you and you're my daughter. Like I don't see you any differently. I'm always going to be here for you. He just always reassured me, that he loves me and that I'm his, and I don't see you any differently. And I just have had, I don't know, I guess my growing up with them was just so different from what I had in the past. He's just one of those guys that we can get so mad at him and like, freak out on him and just be raging. And he's just like, he just takes it, and he's not weak by any means. He's tough. And he used to be a little rowdy back in the day, but he's just
patient.
Just a really good, patient guy.
So it sounds like that his love was true, and it was just easy for you he just convinced you by how he treated you.
Yes.
That he truly loved you.
Yes. I will say that it is in my later years that I really realized how blessed I was
Yeah.
with him. I think I wasn't able to see it as much when I was a kid because I was too busy trying to escape all of the stuff I was dealing with.
Yeah.
But, as you get older and I got, through the addiction and all those things, and you're just able to see things in a different light.
I think that just because I wanted to highlight that, because there could be some guys listening that are stepdads,
Yeah.
and they're in that moment to where they're trying so hard, and and maybe the stepson or stepdaughter's rejecting them.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe it's good for them to hear that if their love is genuine, and they just be consistent and truly love them, that one day they'll be rewarded with finally receiving the love back.
Absolutely.
To where that they, because I'm sure that when especially if he gets to see this, or when you talk to him and him feeling that love back that he's given you, I'm sure that that's rewarding for all the times to where I'm sure there were some times he was like, I don't know if she's ever going to accept me.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, definitely.
So it sounds like home was not chaotic with him, right? And you had got a good job, was working. What spiraled? What pushed you to start leaning to? I don't know what was alcohol your first?
Yeah, as a kid, I drank something here or there.
Yeah.
Alcohol was never really a problem for me until after I got off of drugs.
Okay, so drugs was the first
Yep.
addiction that grabbed you. So how did that start?
Yeah, so I was working at the Buckle, and like I said, I was so good at my job. I remember my boss just loved me because I could just sell anything to anybody. But again, I was just trying to be so good at everything, and I was. But I was just busy. I was just spinning 24/7, anything I could to just avoid all my internal stuff. Just wanted to avoid it. And then I met a guy who worked at the Buckle, who's a little bit older than me, and got he was a leader position at the store. So he saw some interest in me, so we started talking. And at this time in my life, I saw this guy as the older guy who has been in college already, and he's really cute, and he's got a good job, and he kind of seems like one of the cool kids, and I was never a cool kid. So the fact that he was interested in me, I just thought, oh, okay, this is awesome. So I kind of fell into that relationship, and we were together for, I want to say 5 years, but I had no idea for the first year and a half that he was doing pills. I didn't know. That wasn't a part of my life. I'd never done anything like that. And then when I finally found out, I couldn't leave. I didn't want to. I had already invested myself with him. We were talking about getting a place together, and I just felt like if I leave, I'm never going to find anybody else who loves me. I really believed that. I was like, this is it. This is my opportunity. And I so badly wanted to create an escape. I wanted to find somebody who loved me unconditionally and truly wanted to be with me. And I wanted to go, get a job and go to school and have the perfect life and be a good person and, be a mom, do all the things that, little girls dream about doing. I just wanted everything to be perfect. And I wanted it so bad that I was willing to stay and try to help him. So I probably helped him for another year and a half trying to get off of pills, because I still didn't do anything like that. And he didn't, and his addiction got worse. And he was lying to me all the time. Stealing money. It just got really bad. But he had already been promoted to being a store owner, basically. He moved to Georgia. They gave him his own Buckle store. He was going to run it. I was in cosmetology school. I actually left college and went to beauty school because I was going to get my license, move to Georgia with him, go do hair while I go back to school so that I can finish my life, because I just wanted to be with him. And when I went to visit him one time, he ended up having some opioids and just talked me into trying it. And at this point, I was just so upset because I knew he wasn't going to quit, and I had a choice. Like, I either had to leave or not leave, and I couldn't leave. Like, I was so fearful that my life would be over if I left. I had no other choice. So you finally get tired of being lied to about everything, and everything's secretive. You don't feel close to this person. So finally I joined in and tried it, and he was so proud of me. Like, he didn't have to lie to me anymore about anything. Like, he got to do the things that he wanted to do. And
you were a part of his life now.
Yeah. And I remember the first time I did it, I got really sick. And I mean, honestly, when I look at it, I probably almost OD'd because I thought I was dying. And but I did it again, and I did it again, and then I did it again because I felt connected to him in some twisted, toxic way. Like, that was my way of being connected to him. Now we had something to do together. And for the first time in my life, once I got past, throwing up every single time, for the first time in my life, everything that I had ever dealt with, all the anxiety, all the depression, all the worthlessness, I couldn't even sit down and watch a movie because I was just so, like, I had so much going on. It all just went away for the first time. And that was what got me hooked on pills. And
was the break from the reality?
Yeah, I finally was like numbed. My numbing was running, and I was so exhausted. And so now I don't have to run. Now I can just take one of these and everything goes away. And it was just the first time that I had ever experienced not feeling all of that. I felt more outgoing, more fun. I was able to laugh about things. I didn't feel angry. It just all went away. Just all went numb.
And so how long did that last?
I would say probably about 6 years. 6 years. And by year 6, it was pretty bad. I'm grateful that it's not as long as what I know some people have gone through, but I mean, I ran hard in 6 years.
Were you with that guy for the whole 6 years?
Pretty much. Yeah. I finally left him like right towards the end, but now I had already created my own lifestyle in that by now, and I was hooked. I mean, I couldn't go, 8 to 10 hours without taking something, or I would be very sick. So it was a part of my life.
Yeah. And how were you still working?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did life look like at year 6? What was your, I mean, how much was it consuming your life?
It was all day, every day. Like, I mean, I would wake up and I would immediately go to the ATM and get money. And then I would try to call someone to go get some stuff so that I could go to work. And if it meant I was late, I was late. If I had to go to work and sneak out and drive down the road to go get something so I could function for the day, then that's what I did. I mean, I probably spent $150 to $300 a day on my addiction. And then I couldn't afford it anymore. So I moved on to all kinds of other things, heroin, meth, I mean, you name it. I was eating fentanyl out of fentanyl patches, and I just would get a hold of anything I possibly could because I was so sick that I couldn't do anything anymore. And I ended up, I actually ended up working for Lancome Cosmetics and being a makeup artist. I left Buckle and went there, and again, did great at my job. But at some point, like, your addiction gets worse and you still run out of money and you're not able to keep up, and things start spiraling down, and they did. This is right before I met LD, actually. My job realized that something was going on, and I told them what was going on. And I just said, I just need to take a leave, medical leave. I need to go get a counselor, and I need to go get off of these and detox, and so I can come back to work. And I was honest with them. I just said, this is where I'm at, and I'm spiraling. So they allowed me to leave. I was not able to quit, and I came back. A couple months later, they ended up telling me that I needed to leave work. They didn't fire me, but they basically were like, you're done. So went home, and my mom sent me to a detox facility or a detox hospital. And it was the worst experience of my life. Like, it just felt like they locked you in a room, and that's it. Cold turkey, nothing. There's not like counseling and stuff. It's just, you're just going to go detox.
Sweat it out.
Yeah. It was awful.
Yeah.
So, ended up leaving. And it was such a bad experience that my mom was like, I'm not going to send you to another facility because obviously this is bad. So I'm going to have you come stay at our house. I'm taking your phone. I'm taking your car. You don't get access to nothing. And you're just going to do this for a few months. And my mom at the time did everything that she knew to do. My mom did not do drugs. That was not a part of her life. Everybody in her family did. So she kind of ran the opposite direction. My mom didn't know how to help me. So she did everything that she knew to do. But there was a reason I was doing drugs. And it wasn't because I wanted to do drugs. I was like, obviously covering something else that was going on. And as you know, being an addict, that if you want to find a way, you can find a way. And I did. And I'd get on my Xbox and I'd get online on my Xbox and message people and they'd drive out and it was bad. So it just kept spiraling.
Yeah. You hear people say, people that have tried to quit that I've been around, throughout my life, but they're like, oh, if I could just get away from this area or these people. And it's like, it's everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like if you don't yourself want to get away from it, no matter where you go, it's there.
Yeah.
Like like you said, I mean, you took everything away, but if you truly want it, you'll find, mm-hmm. It's just, God says that he makes a way out, but Satan also always makes a way in.
Yes.
Like God will make a way out, but Satan's right there too, just to make a way in. Mm-hmm. So you're with your mom and you're trying to get sober. That didn't work out.
No.
So did your mom just finally say, hey, this is not working? Did she allow you to stay? Did she kick you out? What happened there?
Well, my mom didn't know.
Okay.
For a while. I was able to hide that from her. Then I met LD, and that's a long story in itself. I know that you're wanting to do a podcast with him and let him share his testimony, but when I met him, he was a really bad alcoholic. I was on drugs. We didn't talk about it. It's like he knew, but we didn't talk about it. It's just something that was kind of quiet. But it did get to a point where it was bad enough that he was like, you have got to go get help. And I was just like, I'm not going to anywhere. Like, that was the worst experience of my life. Like, I'm not doing it. And he just kept talking to me about it. And finally I was like, I'll tell you what, if you can find a place for me to go detox where they will help me detox, not cold turkey me, but like actually help me detox, and send me somewhere that is like a good place and not some like government ran facility, then I'll go. And I thought I threw him the impossible. But if you know LD Harris, he can figure out anything. Like, he's just
very good at that.
He's just that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And within like a couple of days, he was like, all right, so you're going to go to Norman, Oklahoma. There's a hospital there. Your insurance is going to cover this. Your parents are going to come pick up your car. You're going to go there for a week. They're going to detox you. And when you're done, then they're going to take you to the Zone, which is also in Oklahoma. And it's, a women's place. It's like a 3-month long, whatever. And they have counselors. There's doctors. Like, they do all the equine therapy, like everything. And this is so dramatic. But I remember, like, wanting to say no. Like, no, I'm not going to do it. Went outside. It was pouring down rain. And I'm, like, walking in the rain and, like, yelling at God. And just, I finally had that moment of, like, fine. Like, I'll go, fine. Thinking, like, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's not going to work. I'll just get back out and start doing drugs again, It was, like, my last resort. I'd basically lost my job. My parents were taking my car. I had no money. I had nowhere else to turn. So it was my last resort. So I went, and that was kind of the start of my detoxing facility.
When you went to rehab, like, did you come out and haven't touched drugs again since?
No. So I went in and I made that mental shift. They even made me like the president of this facility, because I was just like, okay, finally get the opportunity to get clean. Once they detoxed me the unhealthier way, and I got it out of my system, I didn't want to go back to that. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So I went in and did it. And when I got out, I was like, well, I'm not going to do drugs anymore, but I can still drink. And I remember the day that I left, we went to a restaurant, and I can tell you exactly where I was sitting, where we were at, and I ordered a drink and started drinking, and that ended up like being my next downfall. And I actually had to go back to that facility again.
For alcohol?
for alcohol. Totaled my car on the way there. Completely totaled it. Yeah, it was in a pretty crazy, chaotic place.
So you go back for alcohol, and did you come out of that breaking the addiction of alcohol?
No, I went in sneaking Adderall in the back of a calculator, and I was just like tweaking out basically on Adderall the entire time I was there, and then eventually made LD come get me out because
I'm doing no good.
Yeah, they wouldn't give me medicine, of course. I was just, angry about everything. So ended up having me come back out, and we actually had to go to Florida for his job that he was doing for some hurricane cleanup stuff. And I was just drinking like crazy, so bad that he came and dropped me back off at home. He was like, I'm done. And he had already quit drinking by this time. And it was like probably a couple months before Christmas. And I just thought, what have I done in my life? Like, I have lost everything. I am a nobody. Like, I am just some drunk, like, post-addict junkie who has nothing going for themselves. Like, I hit that rock bottom again. Like, I'm going to live with my parents forever. This is awful. And I remember LD was going to go move to Colorado. And we had talked about moving to Colorado for a really long time together. And I wanted him to take me with me. Like, I knew deep down that I did not want to be this person, and I did not want this life. I was just dealing with a bunch of stuff, and I knew that I needed to get away. Like, you had said you can get stuff anywhere. You can, but I needed to completely get away and just start over. And he was like, well, we can do long distance. Like, he didn't want to even take me with him because he didn't know what I was going to do or how I was going to act. And I played it hard. I was like, fine, like, if you want to go and without me, then go without me. But if you do, like, I'm done. Like, I'm going to turn my life around. I've got to start like moving towards a different direction. So either you could take me with you and we can work this out, or we're done. And I'm going to have to like go figure something out. And thank God he took me with him. And I can just remember like applying for like 70 something jobs on the way there, all the way to Colorado. And just like trying to figure out how I was going to, live my life there. But I had never touched drugs or alcohol since. So I've been sober for almost eight years now.
But never touching drugs and alcohol at that point, did that fix the problem?
No. That just like helped with my life not be so chaotic and whatnot. But I was definitely dealing with a lot of turmoil, all the stuff coming up that I never dealt with before. So
we had talked, when we met, which me and LD have been close friends for a while. And, I was always trying to hit him up about, hey man, let's go out to dinners, hang out, let's go to Top Golf. And, you guys were dating, and he would always have an excuse, and, which I'm good about calling people out, but like, dude, you don't want to hang out with me or what? And he would be like, man, Jody has anxiety. I don't think she would go. And, I just being an outside person, I kind of got a glimpse of, just from him talking that you really struggled with, anxiety and depression, and, to where it almost got debilitating to where you just wouldn't do anything. Right.
Yeah.
So, kind of talk me through that, because what I was going to say is, when I told my wife that, because I was like, well, I would love to hang out with them, because I would say, oh, I'm trying to get them to go out, and she'd say, hey, do they want to go? And I'm like, well, no, she has a problem with being around us. She's not sure, and she's like, really, she seems like she's so confident and so outgoing, and you had talked about wanting that persona to be out there, that people to view you, that you're real confident and that you're outgoing, but you wouldn't let anybody closer be around people because you're afraid they would find out that you're the opposite. Right. So kind of explain that to me.
Yeah. So, once I got all the drugs and alcohol out of my system, like I said, I had like dove into bodybuilding, and, that was kind of like my way of coping, like just throwing all this anger that I had, all this anger and depression and anxiety. I had nowhere to to put it.
But you didn't just get into bodybuilding.
No.
You went insane.
I was a freak.
Yeah. I seen when me and LD be working out, I would see your workouts and I'm like a machine.
Yeah.
Like you definitely can be all into something to try to let that consume you, to just be your, I mean, yeah, when she said she was into bodybuilding, like she was to the T.
Yeah.
Veins popping out. I mean, I remember being like, dang, man, you were.
It was too much.
I was jealous how vascular you were.
It was too much for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but you were trying to create an image of a strong woman, confident, but it was all outwardly, right?
Yeah, well, there was a lot of parts to it. I had so much anger that I just needed to put it somewhere. And so like, that's what I did with the weights. It was like I was dealing with all this depression and anxiety, and it's almost like I had like a little devil on my shoulder who was just bullying me all day long. And it's like, you know, all he's doing is sitting there trying to hurt me. And it's like, oh yeah, well, I'm in control and I can hurt myself even more. So like me going in the weights and pushing myself to that extreme, to an extreme that a lot of people, obviously there's other bodybuilders out there.
I couldn't do it.
But there's a lot of people out there that just can't do that. And they'd be like, how do you do that? And I'm like, you don't want to know. Like, you don't want to know how and why I'm able to do this. I had so much exerting that I had to do. So first off, that's where it started, was just I needed a place to exert all this. Then my body started changing and I started becoming really fit, and then started deciding to compete. And then I won the Denver show. I won the entire show, and it was like a moment of victory. Like, oh, I did this. I was successful at something. And then working towards like nationals, I really let my ego, get the best of me in that time in my life, because I just, for the first time in my life, I was like, I'm really good at this. Like, I could be really good. Meanwhile, I was so angry inside, and that was the thing that was like pushing me. And so I just took it to an extreme, and eventually I ran out of the gas to continue pushing to that extreme for that long. And I collapsed. And when I met you guys and I first started going to church over there, I think it was like around 2020 or so, I was in the worst place in my life because I got sick. I got so sick, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Like, I had nothing in me, and my body was done. Like, I had killed my hormones. I had put so much stress on my body when I already had so much stress going on in my mind that I could not work out anymore. Like, it got ripped out from under me. And so when I didn't have that anymore, and I wasn't able to keep up with that anymore, it was like my only coping mechanism. All the stuff internally that I dealt with just like was filling up and pouring out of my eyeballs. It was unreal. And when I went to Colorado for that period of my life, like, there was a lot of highs. It was like, I got sober. I moved to a different state and started a new reputation. I got my first job. I bought my first car at CarMax finally. I became one of the leaders at Michael Kors, retail store. And there were so many like milestones that I was hitting, and I was just getting away from that life, that dark life of addiction that I lived. So there was a lot of highs. And then once we moved back to Arkansas, which honestly, when we moved back to Arkansas, something happened in me, and it was almost like PTSD. Like, it just wrecked me. Wasn't able to keep up with my bodybuilding anymore. And things just started going downhill at that point. That's when I started struggling emotionally and mentally, and I didn't have anything to show anymore. Like, who are you? Well, I'm Jody. I had a rough childhood, and I got over addiction, and I was doing bodybuilding and was doing great at it, but now I'm not able to do it at all because I'm dealing with some mental stuff. I have a business of coaching other women, and it's successful, but I'm not coaching myself. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not doing what I'm telling everybody else to be doing. And so I just felt like a fraud. I felt like I was having imposter syndrome, and I had nothing valuable to share with anybody. So going around and being around someone like, the church or you guys who are a married couple, y'all seemingly are doing great. You have all these beautiful kids and this nice job, and Jennifer loves being a mom, and like, that's her life, and she has purpose behind, who she is and what she's doing. this is just one example. I can tell you a million people that I've had these same issues with. But it's like when I go and I'm, trying to be friends with people, like, what am I going to talk about at the table? I had nothing. So the only thing I have to talk about are bad things, sad things, depressing things, traumatic things. And so now you look at me like I'm broken and weak. And I've tried so hard to run away from this life that I used to live that it caused me even more anxiety. And socially, I couldn't talk to people. And it would eat at me at home because I wasn't living for God. I believed in God, but I wasn't seeking a relationship with him. And, because of that, it ate away at me. And I just got in a darker place until finally I hit rock bottom again, So that's where a lot of the social anxiety and all that came from. But I had nothing. Like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't really have an identity.
Wow. I'm like floored what you just explained. I think you've done the best job I've ever heard of a reason for social anxiety. Because I've never really I think I understand it a lot better. Like, I think that's so brave of you and just humbling for you to admit all that. Like, truly what you were thinking. And what's crazy is what a lie from Satan, because people don't, on just going out to dinner or something or being around a crowd, people don't view you like that. They don't know, but you view yourself, that engulfs you so much that you just can't see anybody viewing you any other way.
Right.
That's amazing. Yeah,
that's sitting at home, I thought about that all day, every day, just like all the things that I'm failing at, so it consumed my every day. Like, I'm not being a good wife. I'm not, being a good coach, and I'm not, this or that. And just, that's who I became. And those are the lies that Satan told me all day, every day. And I was so paralyzed to be able to do anything about it. So by the time I've been sitting in isolation for weeks on weeks, and then now I go around a bunch of people, it's really hard to act normal, or even fake it. I didn't even have the energy to fake it anymore because I was just at the lowest part of my life.
I want to bring up social media a little bit because you're really good at it.
Thank you.
You're very, you done a photo shoot with my daughter and one of her friends, and just very gifted at just your ideas and how to present something. But you were very good at presenting yourself confidently, like you got it together, like you got a lot of things going on. It's crazy to me or I guess it just shows me how that somebody that's why relationships are so important. Getting around people and actually opening up and admitting weakness. That's why the family of God is so important, because, like, if you didn't tell me all that, if I didn't know you, if you didn't get to a point to where you could share, outside looking in, nobody would guess that. Nobody would know that you're falling apart, that you feel the way you do about yourself, because social media hides all that. All it sees is the highlights, or just the way it's presented, and that's dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because explain to me, like, how those most overwhelming moments, if you want, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But just give me an example of one day of what it looked when that overwhelming of all the lies and the things, the worthlessness and all that, what does that day look like?
As you know, I had like a very successful online coaching business where I was like doing all kinds of fitness and nutrition coaching and stuff. And I was successful with it because I used social media, and everybody I trained was virtual. And part of how I even built up momentum to get to that point was like the moment I got sober, I needed a purpose in my life. And so I was like, you know what? I can't get sober for me. I don't really feel like I'm worth doing that for. So I'm going to share my story from day one and just share it so everybody can see like where I am. And if this can help one person, me sharing this, through social media, then that will give me a purpose and that will give me a reason to stay sober. Also, it holds me accountable. And when I first started that journey, I mean, the support and the love pouring in that I had was amazing. Like there's so many people that were excited for me and all for me. And, you always want to see the underdog, do
rise.
well.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I had a lot of support and everything. But I was very honest in social media. I was very raw and honest. I overshared. Definitely overshared way too much. Probably. I don't regret any of it now, but I overshared a lot. And, when you're consumed with social media and that becomes your life, I really thought social media was real life at one point in time because everything about my job and everything I did was based on social media. So if I'm having a really hard day and struggling with all this stuff, like that I'm almost feeling like suicidal in a sense, I need an out, but I don't have an out. It's like I can't do any drugs. I can't do nothing. Like I'm not able to go work out because I'm paralyzed in this moment. So I'm going to put a post together and share exactly what I'm experiencing and exactly what I'm going through. And I'm going to post it because if one person reaches out to me because they're dealing with the same thing, we could talk about it, then I know I've helped somebody. It's also like kind of created like it's okay for me as well, knowing that someone else is struggling. There was many points about it, but if I would post something and not get a reaction from it or a response from it, then I thought like, oh my God, everybody in the world just saw me pour out all of my garbage and everything raw that I want to hide. And like, no one else is struggling. No one else is responding to it, probably because I posted 5 times a day, every day. And people just get tired of seeing the same stuff from the same people all the time. But still in my mind, it was like, people think I'm crazy. People are going to see how much I'm struggling or what kind of dark place I'm in. And so if I didn't get that reaction, then I would spiral even more because not only am I struggling, now I've shared to the world I'm struggling and nobody cares. And so like it would get really bad. And so then again, if I would go out in public and see you guys, all I'm thinking is you're thinking, even though you probably didn't, you saw that post I posted and you know everything that's going on, but we're not going to talk about it. But I know that you know. So now that's playing in my head. All I can think is they think I'm crazy. They think I'm crazy. So for me to even not let that be a factor in the conversations we're having today, or at that time, I couldn't convince myself that you didn't already know that because I had already shared that. So yeah, that's kind of the stuff I struggle with all the time. And yeah. So then like my coaching and stuff that I did, I was really good at that. And again, that is definitely was supposed to be a part of my life. And I helped a lot of women. And I think I was a very different coach in a sense where, yes, I give them a meal plan and yes, I give them workouts. But I knew that most people that are struggling with getting healthy has nothing to do with the meal plan and the workout. Like there's something else going on like with this person, whether it's like mental health stuff or they have marital problems or like they're just overwhelmed with their kids and don't know how to deal with that, or maybe they have autoimmune disease. Like there's something specific going on with them that is keeping them from being able to get healthy. And like I always wanted to figure out what that was. And when I figured it out, I would dive in and do so much research and try to really help them like pinpoint what was going on. But I was just trying to fix other people and not fix myself. So it was another form of escape for me is let me help you. Let's not talk about me or worry about me. I'm going to hide behind my computer. I'm going to stay at home. Nobody knows I'm struggling. I can just be the good coach that helps other people. And so that's what I did for many years. And honestly, that's why I gave it up, because I knew that I wasn't going to heal. I wasn't going to get better if I kept
focusing on other people.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about where you're at now. Because I know that, I had me and your husband, we had just a random day, we had coffee one morning, and I hadn't talked to him in a while. We've both been busy, and I don't really know why because we had been really close before that, and there was a period that we just didn't talk.
Yeah.
I knew he was busy, and but anyway, he kind of caught me all up and really floored me. He talked a lot about you and just your spiritual walk and how close you got to the Lord, and so kind of tell me how that spiritual closeness just to where that really clicked and changed to where God really became everything in your life.
Yeah. Oh man, I've been praying about this all day. Like, how am I going to share this? Because it's not like I just walked into a church and like I had an aha moment and everything was great. Like, it's been a process, and I am still in that process. Like, I'm still like working through things. But my faith is so much bigger now than what it used to be. But I struggled with going to church again, because, you go to church to fellowship and be around other people, obviously, but also like you're going to be in the presence of God, and you're allowing him to work on you and through you, and you have to allow him in to be able to do that. Me trusting people has not been, I haven't trusted people. Getting better at it. But I haven't been able to trust people and to allow other people to see me break. I didn't want people to see me break. Like, let me just go do this at home, God. Like, can we just have this at home? And, then I'll go out in public. Can we just do that way? And that's not how it worked. And LD took me to a Pentecostal church, like real deal Pentecostal, old school Pentecostal church. And I was just like, what? I honestly, I didn't know what to think. I was very angry about it for a long time, because I just thought, I've changed so much in my life trying to be better. And now I've got to go like change, I can't wear makeup, and I can only wear dresses, and, I can't wear jewelry. And I just had all these ideas of like, I can only do this, and this. And so, I went to that Pentecostal church for a year and a half, almost 2 years, before I finally started to like open up a little bit, because I, again, convinced myself that like all of the people at the church are, they're like up here, and I'm this broken, worldly person coming into church and just struggling with how people saw me. And I didn't want people to see me like breaking down. I was worried about, worshiping in front of people, and I was just struggling with a lot of stuff. So it wasn't like, again, I just walked in. It's been a process. But I had also been dealing with depression and anxiety, again, it would just come in spurts. Like, every so often it would be so bad and so debilitating that I would just fantasize about being suicidal, and I couldn't do it, but I just wanted out so bad. And I would just beg God to just take my life. Like, I can't continue to do this. And so, I had no other choice but to continue to keep going to church on Sunday, and I would just be there with my arms crossed, and I wouldn't raise my hands, and I wouldn't pray, and I would just sit there. Like, I guess I expected God to come over to me and, you come change me. Like, I'm here. I did this part. Like, I need you to come here. And I was just, again, angry. So it was a process. Then we started going to the Pentecostal church in Fayetteville, which is rooted off the one in Fort Smith where we started. And it was very small and compared to the bigger one in Fort Smith. And I love my church. Like, I love my church. I love all the people in my church. Like, they have been so amazing. And they kind of remind me, I'm going to get emotional. They kind of remind me of my dad, because it was like, I came in and I felt so unworthy, and, I had such a lack of value, and I saw myself in such a poor light. And I look at all these godly people around me, speaking in tongues and praising and worshiping and just fully living their life for God. And I'm like having a hard time raising my hands. I just saw myself so small in comparison to them, like a place that I would never be able to reach, even though I wanted to get closer to God. And they just like took me in, and they just loved me through it all. And it took doing that over and over and over and over and over before I realized, like, these people really do love me, and these people really do want the best for me. They don't have any expectations of me. They just want to get me close to God. They just get close to God and let God do the rest. Like, that's the only thing I felt from them. And so over time, I started, praying under my breath a little bit more at church, and I started worshiping a little bit more, than what I used to. And I just had to start, working through things that I didn't want to work through. I've changed a lot about me that I didn't want to change before. I have completely walked away from bodybuilding, for example, not because I think bodybuilding is bad and that I don't look at people that do bodybuilding as like bad people, but what I used it for was to control things, to control a lot of things and to hide things and mask things. So as long as I stayed in that, I thought I had it together, and I would come into church and I would be okay with just not doing as much because I felt like I had it together more. And I didn't like that, because then depression and anxiety would come back on. It was like, okay, this is how I know that this is not actually working for me. So when I finally ripped that off and just started focusing on getting close to God, it was very messy, and it was just a process of doing it over and over and over. And I just started noticing, things getting lighter, and my depression and anxiety going longer in between of having a week-long episode that was like debilitating. And that's truly how that's gone. And I don't know, it's really crazy to look back on it all, because it feels like yesterday that I was where I am. So to see where I am today, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I love the fact that you say it's messy.
Oh.
Because my life is, I still feel like my life is messy. I don't have it together. I mean, I still have days to where I'm like, I don't know if I can keep doing this, God. I don't think that, because we still battle with the flesh, and we're serving a perfect God, but we're not perfect.
Yeah.
And I don't ever feel like you got to have it together, or that people around you have it together, because they act like they do, they don't. I mean, I love the Lord. I think the best thing I have going for me is I just know I cannot do life without God. Like that's my motivation. Mm-hmm. That's what I hold on to, is like, I don't want another choice. Like, even when it's messy and sloppy and it looks so put together, and I feel like I've really disappointed God, I really feel like I've really disappointed my family or people around me by my actions, my attitude. I mean, we went to Silver City, and I was doing good for a while, and then I got an attitude, and it just stuck with me, and everybody felt it, and I had to get away from everybody because I was in a bad mood. So I don't have it together all the time. But I think people get in trouble when they think that life has to look perfect, and that they got to look like it's all put together, and they worry about how people perceive them. When I first few years, I was down at the altar it wouldn't even be an altar call, and I was down at the altar. I mean, I just felt like all the time I just couldn't get over these humps and these struggles and things in my mind. And so I was like, I'm just going to ride the altar all the time. I'll just go down there all the time and pray. And one time when I was walking down and I walked by somebody, I heard him say, "He's going down again." Right. And yeah. And I was like, stop for a second. And what it done for me is like, okay, like the thoughts that were in my head that people are going to think that I'm always struggling, it's true. Mm-hmm. People are saying it out loud, but that's okay. I am, like I need God all the time. Yeah. Like on my own, I am a screw up. I have a lot of problems and a lot of issues, and without God, I'm going to fall right back into them. They're going to overtake me. And so, yeah, here I go again, crying out to God, telling God, I cannot do this without you. I don't want to do it without him. And so I love the fact that you admit that it's messy. But where you'll mess up is if you quit going to him. Mm-hmm. That's when we get in trouble. God is okay with us being messy. He knows that we're not perfect. He doesn't expect us to be perfect. Matter of fact, he says that we're to come as we are. And for some people, it's really hard. They think that they got to clean themselves up a little bit. And I never could do that. I had to come to God with my addiction still a hold of me, with my mental problems, with my depression, anxiety, feeling not worthy. But I just came to God with all of that. And when God would get me a little bit ahead on one thing, then something else would feel like it was bigger. And then I'd be like, oh no. And, but God be like, that's okay. Just, we'll work through that. And, I'm going to tell you, Jody, just your confidence now is so peaceful. I just listening to you talk about who you used to be. Like the reason I don't have a problem talking about my struggles and stuff, I mean, I still have struggles, but the struggles in my past, the things that I've done in my past is because it's like I'm talking about somebody that doesn't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. And I feel like with you, your confidence, like the woman that you are in God now, there's so much humble confidence. And I feel like, how you love to help people with God leading your direction, you're going to help young women and probably older women that have maybe never gotten past that, feeling not worthy, not wanted. You're going to do great things.
Thank you.
Just a calmness in your voice, just a calmness of, it's amazing. I really just amazed of how powerful the calmness of just hearing you talk about struggle. And I mean, it's incredible. It's a gift. It's a gift that God's given you. And you're going to do many things. You already, she does awesome photography. Some of the most incredible photography I've ever seen. Like I said, my daughter done a photo shoot, and I've seen some stuff that she done. Do you have a photo deal? What is it? Like, what's your? Do you have a business on like photography?
I like JR Pro Media.
JR Pro Media.
Yes.
You guys need to check that out. It's incredible. She has so many. God has gifted her with ideas of pictures and stuff that I love it. I think it's so cool. But you're gonna do mighty things. Thank you. And I'm proud of you. And I love to see. I don't know if you see it, but your worth, the love that God has for you and how God sees you. I don't know if you fully see it yourself, but you express it. And how you talk and how you carry yourself, your true worth of how God views you is coming out of you.
That's amazing.
Yep. And we talked about that beauty that on the inside, because outward beauty fades. We were talking, I told her everybody gets ugly. I mean, we can't get away from it. We get old. You just can't maintain outward beauty. Yep. But the inward beauty is something that you can always work on, and God can grow. You become more and more beautiful the more that God changes you on the inside. Yep. And it's stunning. I mean, I'm so thankful what God's doing in your life and your willingness to share your story and to be vulnerable and to be okay with being messy. Yep. I think you embrace the fact that we don't have it together, and without God, we won't ever have it together. So thank you for being on this podcast and sharing your story.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on here. It's been amazing. This is honestly the first time that I've been able to share it without crying or getting stuck on something. So
You've done a great job.
God is doing amazing things in our life, in my family's life, and I'm just so grateful.
Like you mentioned, and I want to mention this because you're starting to see it, and this holds it true to God's promise. You said when you were a little girl, you remember praying about things that just now you're starting to see come to promise. And that's the scripture where God gives us a promise where he says, what Satan meant for evil, what Satan tried to destroy you and keep you thinking that you're worthless and to keep thinking that you'll never be anything and you always got to try to prove yourself. God is taking all that pain and all that hurt and all that doubt and turning it into a strong woman that knows her worth, and that you're going to help young ladies and people see their worth. You're going to help them squash that lie. And I just think it's amazing.
Oh, it's so amazing. Oh my God, it makes me emotional.
Well, I'm trying to get you the ball. That's how I'm trying to bring it out. But Jody, thanks for being with us tonight, and thanks for doing the podcast.
Thank you so much,
guys. Thanks for watching Jody's story, and I hope that it just encourages you to know that life can be messy, and that your true worth, let God show you what your true worth is. Don't try to find it in things. Don't try to find it in accomplishments and things that the world has to offer, because it will still leave you empty. But when God gets a hold of you and shows you your worth, you'll truly know the beauty and how God truly sees you. Thanks for watching.